Alrighty, people. Before we get started, please drop your boy a like and subscribe, as it does help me get noticed on YouTube. But let's get into it. So, what's Bitcoin? Well, it actually came into existence in 2019, just as a little overview, by a group or someone named Satoshi Nakamoto. This is a pseudonym, of course, because no one really actually knows who created it. There was this guy who, who they pretty much use a picture of him all the time, and like this guy over here, and people like raided his house and stuff. They were like attacking him, asking him questions, because they thought that he made it, and he had no idea what the hell they were talking about. So, no one knows who made Bitcoin. It's essentially it exists by itself in a sense, which is pretty cool. Now, to actually go into what it is, it's a decentralized digital currency that allows payments to anyone, anywhere within the world. Now, I do want to make that clear that it's decentralized, so there isn't one specific location where there's like a headquarters or anything like that. It exists online essentially, and it's digital, so there is no physical Bitcoin. I mean, people can like mint their own coins and put like the symbol on it, but it's not a Bitcoin. At the end of the day, it's all digital. And I think this is something that's very, very overlooked, right? So when I say anyone, anywhere, I really mean anyone, anywhere. So we're talking about, for me, some guy down the street. We're talking about from someone from the U.S. to Russia, from Australia to South Africa, freaking down south to up north, really anywhere. And that's the best part about it. It's borderless, essentially. And I think that's definitely one of the most defining qualities for it. I mean, there's a lot, but which we'll go into. But Bitcoin does operate on its own blockchain, but I won't kind of go into that because of the technicalities that come along with explaining what a blockchain is. So if I do say something going forward that sounds a little bit vague, it's on purpose so that I don't start to get a little bit confusing, if that makes sense. I'll make another video on the blockchain later. But let's kind of get into some of the main points why Bitcoin is so, fundamental or useful. First thing is that it's deflationary. And by deflationary, of course, it's rather than inflationary like the US dollar, where they can print infinite amounts of it. Bitcoin is the opposite. There's a finite cap at 21 million Bitcoin, and every 4 years, the amount of Bitcoin that's made is cut in half. And currently, I think the actual rate in which it's coming in is about 6.25 Bitcoin every 10 minutes is how much Bitcoin is being made currently at this time. So again, deflationary, and there's a hard cap on it, right? So in a sense, there's not one entity or one person saying, all right, let's print a million of it and, kind of throttling down the value, whereas a dollar kind of is right now. The next thing is it's unfakeable, or I I hope you get the reference, clone trooper, or, clone, fake, get it? No? All right. I think it looks pretty cool. Anyways, the point is that it's impossible to fake. And that's going to go into the blockchain reasoning. So kind of explaining what that is, but really the essential point here is that much like let's say the U.S. dollar, you can like give it to someone, and it looks real, for example, it may not be. Like you have to like hold it up against the light. If it's a big bill, you have to see if like the strip is there. There's a whole process in seeing if that's real or not. With Bitcoin, as long as you can check pretty much the blockchain ledger, you can see if it's real and if it's not, if the transaction exists. Again, hopefully I didn't get too technical there, but the point here is that you can't fake it. This is very important. Next thing is that you have full control over it. And I have this little GIF here to kind of have a little analogy. This is us right now, essentially. If we're using the US dollar, this is the government, and this is us. The bull is just messing us up really badly, as you can see. However, with Bitcoin, you got full control, all right? Grabbing the bull by the horns, for lack of a better term. I love that GIF. But essentially that there's no essential authority here, right? So you can send it here, you can send it there. You have full control over the Bitcoin that you own. When you have your USD or your dollars in the bank has custody of it. They can choose what happens with it. Like, for example, when I put $10 into the bank, it's not left there for when I want to take it back out. The bank uses it and loans it out. So at that point, it's not mine. It's not even the banks, I guess, technically. It's whoever they loaned it to, which I don't know. You know what I mean? It's not stuff we think about every day, but it does come down to, like, just again, fundamentals, like how this stuff works. The next thing is going to be that it's irreversible. And I'm sorry if you got scared here. I had to pick this one because that shit is not reversible. Look at that. Oh, my God. Uh, like, shouts out to that guy. But the point is that, once a transaction goes through for Bitcoin, like once I send it to my friend, for example, there's no like chargeback. There's no me trying to get my money back. Like none of that. And that can be seen as a positive and a negative, I guess, in the consumer's eyes, maybe a negative, depending on, let's say you bought a product and it wasn't what it was supposed to be. So maybe to a certain extent, you could say that's a negative. However, for business owners, it's pretty powerful, right? This helps fighting chargebacks and fraud, which account for quite a lot of of lost money, I guess you could say, lost revenue throughout a year for businesses. So because you can't really charge a Bitcoin, you can't charge it back at a Bitcoin transaction, just not how it works. But it's immutable in that sense. The next thing, which is pretty big, is going to be, ready? Anonymous. Now, when I say anonymous, let me kind of clarify here. It doesn't require any information for you to own Bitcoin. I guess for the dollar, you could say the same thing, where like people can just give me $1 and technically it's off the books. No one knows I have a buck technically. However, it's a little bit different in terms of like making your own wallet and actually creating an account and being able to send it like that, that easily, right? Like there's no, like for money, for example, if you want to send money to, let's say, Joe Blow across the globe, you need to make a PayPal account, you need to make a Cash App account or whatever, and you need to give them your information, right? They're not going to let you just make the account and then just start sending stuff. No, like they want your name, your last name, your email, sometimes even your social security. With Bitcoin, you don't need that. You can make your own, again, account that's called a Bitcoin wallet online for free. And at the end of the day, again, no one's going to ask you for your information. And it's a specific reason why this is important, because I've heard the argument all the time where it's like, like why would I care about using Bitcoin? It's like I don't care if so and so company has my information. I have nothing to hide. That's like one of the biggest arguments I hear. But I think that's the wrong argument to make. It's more along the lines of it's not about like giving companies your information, having nothing to hide. It's more about trusting them with your information and trusting them that they're not going to mishandle it or mistreat it. Because again, we've seen many data breaches over the last couple of years where millions of people's information has been exposed to hackers online because these companies are mistreating our data. Like for example here, we have a whole chart. Let's take a look at 2019 alone. Over 164 million records of people's information was exposed from data breaches. And again, that's why I say that, being anonymous to a certain extent is good, because you don't want people mistreating your information at the end of the day. I mean, it's valuable, right? So I thought I'd just mention that. I thought that was pretty important. The last thing, which I'll go back here, is going to be secure. Now up here I have a picture of Fort Knox because you probably have a better time, an easier time getting into Fort Knox than you would breaking into the Bitcoin blockchain. The reason I say that is because at the current price Bitcoin is at now, which is at the time of this video is $11,780. It cost about $526,000 to pretty much hack the Bitcoin network for an hour. Now let that sink in. That's $500,000 to break into the Bitcoin network for an hour. Theoretically, this isn't like a set number or anything. It's not like you can give someone this $500,000 and say, all right, go ahead and hack the network for me. No, you need the hardware, you need the expertise, you need the know-how, you need you need like a facility to store all those machines, and you need to be able to actually hold down the network for that long, right? So that's when I say secure, it really is like almost the peak of security. I mean, the reason why it's called a cryptocurrency is because it uses cryptography to make sure that it's secure. So again, not trying to get too in depth on how this stuff works. Just want to give you some insight on the qualities of it. So what I would say, if you do want to learn how to use Bitcoin, I suggest downloading the app Coinbase, since it is the easiest way to get Bitcoin if you don't already know someone who has any that they can send you. But full transparency, of course, they're a company, so they're going to ask for your info. Just keep that in mind. But thank you guys for watching. I really appreciate it. I hope you like that little GIF. This is great. Look at that. Look at that little guy going to the moon. Anyways, future videos, I'll try to explain what blockchain is and, how Bitcoin relates to it. So definitely stay tuned for that. But, again, I appreciate y'all for watching. Throw me a comment down below. What do you think is your favorite quality about Bitcoin? What do you think makes it so, I guess, useful? And if you're not a fan of Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, tell me why. I'm interested to hear. Why do we want to support the printing of millions or trillions of dollars, especially now in the middle of a pandemic? I don't know. But thanks for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one. Peace.